question is, both of you mentioned...
Could you say your name?
Oh, pardon?
Could you say your whole name?
My name is Mohammed Sheikh, and my question is that both of you mentioned better cooperation and communication with TCSA. So far in the past 3 years that I have been at Trent University, the communication that is established with TCSA is primarily done by the International Student Commissioner. And we do know the VP student issues, and we do get to hear from them, but there's nothing that we see that there's actively involvement with them. So I guess basically how are you planning to improve relationship with the international community and TCSA?
Hello, it's Freya once again. John Paul is about to do that. It's not a simple answer because communication can always be improved. Communication always needs to be talked about. Last year at the board we had this one problem regarding lack of communication. And one person who's in the room came to the board and said, look, there's more than one woman on this board, there's more than one person representing the women's issues. That's the same case for international students. We don't have to rest international connection between the TCSA and TCSA. There's plenty of international students who are very strong speakers, who are very strong organizers, and we need to foster and make people feel empowered to make those connections. Not be like, oh, that's the International Students Commissioner. That kind of mentality we have to challenge. We have to say, there is more than just an International Students Commissioner. There is so much more happening, and we have to foster those communications. I think I answered your question. I use a lot of, soft words, but I would do that sometimes.
Hi, this is Levi speaking. For that question, for me, it's simple. The channel of communication between the TCSA or international community and TCSA should be concrete and simple and frequent. If nobody else do it, I'll make sure I do it at least twice a week or even once a week. It's simple as that. If you have a problem, come to me or I'll come to you. You're the president of TCSA, I assume. Yes. So it's simple. The channel between the communication between the TCSA and TCSA should be frequent. Simple as that. No question asked. Bata.
Thank you very much, candidates. We have the next question.
Hi, I'm Megan Kelly. I'm the co-editor for Arthur newspaper. I just have a quick question for both of you. You've mentioned an increase to tuition fees for international and domestic students, and Franklin has been on the record saying he supports those increases. So I was wondering what your specific action plans are for campaigning for lower tuition fees for both domestic and international students. Campaigning, advocating for students, not just to the administration, but also to the Ontario government.
Thank you, Megan, for the question. Laban talked earlier about the Canadian Federation. My name is Freya. John Paul is very persistent about this. John Paul. Laban mentioned earlier about the Canadian Federation of Students' Day of Action to drop fees. That campaign stopped 24 months ago, and there was a new campaign put in its place to talk about lowering tuition fees. Its successes have a lot to be talked about. It is a new campaign which is basically ad hoc flyer groups of 15, 20 people from each university flying onto, but zooming into other campuses and just being 15 active, energized bodies getting petitions signed. Is that more effective than the Day of Action? I really like the Day of Action that we had 2 years ago and never had ever since. So we still, in the Ontario sense, in the province sense, and the federal sense, don't have a campaign or a successful, coordinated, good campaign to lower tuition fees. And so it's something that the TCSA has to work with our provincial student union, the Canadian Federation of Students, which I've sat on for the past 9 months. And I've been got the inside scoop of the fact that we haven't had one for the last 2 years. So we need to really go to the CFS and say, hey, we can't change provincial policy all by our lonesome self up here in Trent. We need to work with them to make sure that they have the resources they need and they have the students on our campus that can sign those petitions to increase pressure. One more thing I want to slip in there. October 6th, we're going to have another Ontario general election. When you walk into the Trent Central Student Association office, there's these giant posters of Fifth Naked, a bunch of other great bands in 2007 language. And those bands came to Trent to rock the vote. We got a huge rock the vote campaign out there to put pressure on our MPP, Jeff Leo, to ensure that we had a voice in the provincial government. Do we have a voice in the provincial government? It's a good question. I don't think we do. But that's something we need to do. We can't stop tuition fees at Trent, but we can organize on a provincial level to make sure that we have a better and more concrete student body.
On the issue of international and domestic fee going up, it's true. I agree with Brea. It's not one university could address this. Multiple universities. I don't mind communicating with other universities in Toronto, even Ontario, to have one event or not protest.
Day of action.
Huh?
Day of action is what they're called.
Yeah, November 5th, the day of drop fee. There's usually a rally going on, and I support that. The more support we have of the university, even international, domestic, Trent, Fleming, Toronto, York, we should all come together. And I think the more and the merrier. That's what I believe.
Thank you very much, dear candidates. Now for our last question for this position, we have Mike.
That was you guys, sorry.
Hi guys, my name is Mike Bartlett and I have no formal title. The two of you, Brea especially, discussed systematically challenging the administration, which I believe was the term used. Incredibly noble, but also incredibly difficult. What strategies do you have to do so successfully?
Should I go up? This is Videographer. To me, it's not about challenging the administration, the school. It's more of a working with them to improve the students. So I don't want to challenge it. I want to work with them to improve our students, international and domestic. So like I said, communication is very important. I don't want to seem like I'm coming to them to come with angry face or aggression. So I want to come with a soft voice, and work with them. Liaison, a friendly help is better than coming aggressively. So that's my approach.
It's Brea. John Paul didn't have to do it that time. I have two ways I want to address this question. There is, yes, we need to systematically challenge the administration. The administration treats us like we don't know. That is the general presumption. They say, you don't understand, we need to cut back your scholarships, which is going to cost an average student between $3,000 to $25,000 over the course of the degree. Sorry, I'm not okay with letting my friend's $25,000 scholarship walk out the door. We do need to say, no, Trent, we want those scholarships. We don't want you just to walk away because you want to change the way the academic schedule is. Like, that is something like, I understand the friendly face, nice warm smile, but I'm not okay to smile while they take away a $25,000 scholarship. That's a bad idea. If we enable the administration saying, oh, well, just take away $20,000 of the scholarship instead, that's still bullshit. We need issues like scholarships with the Aramark food contract being renegotiated. We need to be really strong that we want our scholarships. We want our housing. We want to be able to afford to go to school. Those are really key questions, the really key things that I'm not willing to negotiate on. And I think the TCSA needs to say, no, people paying school ought to stay. Conversely, I do think there is a room for soft-handed. Some people know I take every opportunity to get into Franklin's car. Why? Why do I like to get into Franklin's car? Besides the fact that $68,000 Trent University paid for it with leather seated, heating seating. Because I could have talked to him one-on-one in this nice, polite way, and I could have said, Franklin, how can you get a $2,000 private physical in a United States hospital every year? Which, that's a courtesy that most students don't get. That's a courtesy heck. Most students can't even access the Trent Health Service because it's so improperly funded. This isn't a place to play hardball. This is a place to say, we need to increase funding. You know that 5% funding cut they're recommending for the Disability Service Office? Nuh-uh. Let's make it a 2% funding cut. 2% funding increase, not a funding cut. So there is a room for soft and hard tactics. Scholarships, fuck that. I am not accepting to lose my $25,000 scholarship.
I would like to apologize for the passion. For the prospective candidates and the viewers, let's keep the passion in civil terms. And thank you very much, candidates running for VP Student Issues. Good luck to all of you.
it's all right, عادي عادي.